What's up, guys? It's your boy, Paper Warrior 20, coming back at you with another video. Now, I just got back from a 10:30 p.m. showing of the new Super Mario Brothers movie. And, you know what? I wasn't going to make a video on it. I was just going to watch it with my family. But about halfway through, I realized that the only joy I can make out of watching this movie was making a video out of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be one to trash this video horrendously, and I'm not going to come overly harsh onto the video. I'm going to give it the critique it deserves, and it deserves a lot of critiques. But at the same time, I realize, like I hope most of everyone else realizes, that I'm not the target audience for a Super Mario movie. You can clearly tell throughout this movie what what these filmmakers are going for. They're not going for Citizen Kane, obviously. And you know what? They're not even going for something that's enjoyable to anybody with a developed prefrontal cortex. They're not going for that. And that's made abundantly clear every time they make a decision in this movie. As I was watching this movie, the only thought and the only sentence, the only phrase I could think of is iPad baby. This movie was made for children that have grown up with iPads, that have short attention spans, that want to get little morsels of goodness in their movie, little memes that they can make out of it, little moments that they could think are cute or think are funny, and to move from there. If you're going into this movie expecting any kind of story, any kind of plot development, any kind of character development, any kind of thinking beyond going in your head going, wow, they did some cool animation here, or wow, Yoshi's kind of cute, or wow, these little folks are kind of funny and kind of cute, and I wish I could have one. Let me go to Target and let's go buy a little star. I think that's the extent of the thoughts they want going through your mind. They want you to have those little thoughts about, wow, this stuff is cute. And they also want you to think, wow, I should really go buy a plushie of one of these stars. And they also want you to think of, wow, that was a lot of fun when I played that game back in the 90s. Wow, that was a really great time when I was playing Mario with my friends when I was in middle school on the N64 or whatever it is. That's what they want, and that's what they got. So in that sense, I think you could call this movie a success. Definitely based on the fact that it's spring break right now. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie made boatloads and boatloads and boatloads of money. I mean, the first one made boatloads and boatloads of money too. And I wouldn't be surprised if this one just follows suit. I feel like I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself here. This movie was something I was not expecting to see. I went and saw the original Super Mario Brothers movie, I think 3 different times in the theaters. I went once by myself because I was home alone at the time and nobody was there with me. So I thought, you know what, I need to go find something to do. And to all my folks out there that are single, to all my folks out there that don't have a lot of family around, and to even all my folks out there that do have family around, but just want something to do by yourself, I will say the most underrated experience in life is going to a movie theater by yourself. Now, when I was a kid, I thought it was kind of pathetic and I thought it was kind of sad to see people going to a movie theater by themselves. But if you look at it, you sit in a dark room by yourself with a fun snack and a fun drink and you watch a fun movie. So that's what I did when the first movie came out. And then I went with my family a second time, and then I went with a different group a third time. And I kind of liked the first movie. Again, wasn't Citizen Kane. It wasn't this like grand adventure that you're absolutely in love with. But I think it hit home on the things that it wanted to. They wanted it to be a fun movie that you could bring the family to, that had good animation, that made you think about the different times that you played Mario. And what I liked about the first movie is there was a little twinge of story, right? There's a little something that you could hook your teeth into and kind of follow. So I wasn't against this movie coming out, and I didn't really give it a lot of thought, and I kind of got roped into watching it tonight. The difference between the first movie and why I thought the first movie was probably like a 6 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 10, in this movie, which I haven't really thought of a number, but I think I would go as low as probably like a 2 out of 10. Like, I thought it was, again, I said I didn't want to be too harsh on this movie, but it was dreadful. I have never really considered leaving a movie in the theaters that I've been to, and this is the first time where I was like really considering it. I was like, you know what? I paid $10 for my ticket, but do I care? I don't want to be here anymore. And I've never really had that in a movie, because I think a lot of these movies that we go to that are bad, you quickly find out that they're bad and you have a little bit of fun with it. This one, I couldn't find any kind of fun with it, like in the way that a lot of people find fun in the bad movies. But yeah, so I thought it was, again, for me, I thought it was dreadful. I thought it didn't hit the mark, and I didn't think there was any enjoyment at all. And it kind of actively pissed me off. it like actively was, I thought, rage-inducing to my brain. There's a few points on that. First of all, I can forgive a lot of movie sins. I can forgive a lot of bad storytelling. I can forgive a lot of a lack of character development or things feeling rushed. What I have a hard time with, and what really takes me out of a movie, is when the corporate necessity of the movie kind of comes into it, and it turns into this big, long commercial. And there were a few times in this movie where I thought, wow, they must have gotten their ad department on this movie and really like, let's make a commercial, let's just make it long. And I mean, there's moments where you're watching like Bowser Jr. play Mario Bros. And you're like, wow, yeah, that's probably their attempt at making me want to go play Mario. Or they're obviously trying to sell some plushies or some like toys or something in this movie, because the amount of cute little creatures that they bring into this movie is just overkill, and it actively pissed me off. The stars, they're so... I'm going to be talking about this, spoilers in this movie. It shouldn't matter to you. There's the stars in the beginning that belong to Rosalina, right? In the first movie, everyone kind of thought that one star that was talking about death and destruction in the little cage was cute. So they brought it back, and they brought it back 50-fold. They said, you know what? You like that one star in this last movie? We're going to bring back 50 of them, and we're going to make them all the same little thing. And then you have the mushrooms, and then you go to the casino planet, and then there's the cute little creatures in there that are trying to destroy them. Princess Peach and Toad. And then you have like the cute little penguins on that planet, and then on the other planet you have the cute little creatures there. And it was just one too many, two too many, three too many cute little creatures, where their whole point of being there was to be cute and for the characters to go, oh wow, this guy's so cute. And I think that really hit home to me when they brought out this monkey. And this monkey, they're like, oh wow, you're so cute, you're such a cute little monkey. And I'm like, yeah, that would have hit, right? I would have liked that if we hadn't had like 4 or 5 different scenes of them trying to sell us on, wow, isn't this a cute little star? Wow, isn't this a cute little penguin? I was sick of it at that point. My other least favorite part of this movie was Bowser Jr., the little shit. hated this kid. I hated this kid. I hated this kid. I hated this kid. It was, first of all, you know what? That's how you enjoyed this movie. For everyone that hasn't gone out and seen Mario, the new Mario movie, before you go, bring a flask or something. Bring some kind of alcohol. And I want you, every time Bowser Jr. says dad, every time he says dad, I want you to take a shot. Now, I don't think you'll be coherent enough to walk out of the movie theater at the end of this movie, but you'll probably have a good time. At one point in the movie, it's like every single sentence he ends the sentence with like, dad. Like, dad, wouldn't this be fun? Dad, what if we destroyed this planet? Dad, you're friends with these losers? Dad, this is my thoughts. Dad. And I was like, dude, stop with the Bowser Jr. stuff and stop with the dad talk. We get it. He's your dad. But again, I think that goes into the point of this movie. It's made for kids, and it's made for iPad babies. And they're probably expecting a lot of kids not to keep track of the fact that Bowser Jr. is Bowser's son. But I don't understand what kid doesn't keep track of that when the name is Bowser Jr. and they say it multiple times. And you know what? What I've said throughout this little video a lot of times is that maybe it's a kid's thing. Maybe it's for the kids and I'm not the target audience and I shouldn't complain about it, which I believe is true. But the more I think about it, the more insulting I think that is to kids. I think kids are smarter than this movie, and I think we need to give them a little bit more credit than to take them to the Super Mario Galaxy movie. They have higher cognitive thinking than this movie gives them, and it's kind of embarrassing the different storylines that this movie brings up and how simple they expect the average viewer to be. Again, bringing up the dad non-stop. But back to my first complaint about the commercial aspect of this movie. Another thing that was abundantly clear to me was the corporate executives, however high up they may be, went to the creators of this movie and said, we need Yoshi in this movie. We need Yoshi in this movie a lot, and we need Yoshi in this movie within the first 5 minutes. And that's what it seemed to be. I mean, they find Yoshi in its own little self-contained plot that has a scene that has no connection to the rest of the movie. They find Yoshi. All of a sudden, Yoshi is best friends with Mario and Luigi, and Yoshi is sticking out his tongue and doing his Yoshi thing within, like, honest to God, like 5 minutes of this movie. And he's just kind of there, and he's there throughout the movie, and I wouldn't be surprised if Yoshi has the most screen time in this movie out of any character. I mean, Rosalina didn't have a lot of screen time, and I feel like this was kind of her movie from the marketing standpoint. I wouldn't be surprised if Yoshi had more screen time than Mario, if Yoshi had more screen time than Luigi. It just seemed clear to me that this is kind of what they were doing. If somebody came down and said, hey, you need Yoshi in this movie, and you need Yoshi in this movie a lot. That was also evident in how they brought in Star Fox and I forget his name, but the Super Smash Bros. Character that Luigi brings in at the end of the movie that he draws. It's like, yes, no, a corporate exec came down and said, this is what you're doing for this movie. Whatever storyline be damned, this is what you're doing. And you see it throughout the movie because storylines and story beats and plot lines are dropped left and right. Luigi in the beginning is bringing up, wow, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Like, I'm learning how to deal with my anxiety and my fear. And then it's never brought up again. Except there's a sentence at the end where he's like, oh, when I was a baby, I no longer had the anxiety. But, you know, when you bring that, like, anxiety point up at the beginning of the movie, I expect it to be brought up a lot, and for it to be a plot point. And it just wasn't. And it was kind of dropped at that point. Another thing is the Bowser of it all. Oh, yes, Bowser's a good guy. Bowser's on our side. wait, never mind. He's back with his son Bowser Jr., and they're back to doing evil things. Why? Not because he loves his son, because he had these thoughts outside of his son of wanting to do good and not wanting his son to see him in this bad way. But all of a sudden, it takes this turn of Bowser's miniature, and we think he's going to be bad. Bowser's big, now he's good. Now Bowser makes this sacrifice for Mario and Luigi and Yoshi, and we expect like Bowser's like making good progress here. And then it feels like a snap of the fingers, Bowser Jr. comes in and Bowser's back to his old ways of being this big evil dude that wants to destroy Mario and Luigi. And it just didn't work for me. Maybe if they had developed it a little bit more, it would have worked better. But again, storylines are dropped just like that because they don't expect kids to be able to keep up with it. Another evident space for that is this casino scene where they bring in this big frog. I'm not like well versed in the Mario games, but they bring in this big frog, and I think they're building up this big frog to be like one of the main staples, one of the main villains for the rest of this movie, where the big frog contacts Bowser Jr. after this little fight, and then all of a sudden it washes away, it vanishes. You don't hear from him again after he's on screen one time. Just things like that. I mean, the biggest culprit of this, I think, is Rosalina. They have Rosalina come in, and she has like this badass moment at the beginning where she's defeating this robot and she's protecting her little stars. And then all of a sudden, it's like Rosalina's captured. Bye-bye, Rosalina. We're not going to see Rosalina again until the end of the movie when Princess Peach saves her. And when she's like locked in this cage, this movie was targeted as like, I thought, like a little like Rosalina ad, and that just wasn't the movie, and that was disappointing to me. What else was there? Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, no real character development. Again, I don't expect like something crazy here, but it felt like a lot of sequence of events that were happening to the main characters that the main characters had no real control over. And when the characters did have control over a situation, they made dumb decisions. They made decisions that made me scream at the screen. We have Princess Peach, and she gets this message like, oh, Rosalina needs your help. Princess Peach, instead of like asking somebody for help or like talking to Mario, talking to Luigi, talking to the other Toads, says, you know what, peace out, I'm gonna go. And then we spend the rest of this movie like having Mario kind of chase down Princess Peach. And even at the end of the movie, we have like this whole storyline of like Mario having this crush on Princess Peach. Princess Peach, oh, does she like him back? Does she not? And then it's just kind of like there's a kiss on the cheek at the end, and Mario blushes, and Mario like is like kind of happy that Princess Peach kissed him on the cheek. But that's it. I mean, there's not a lot there. I guess that's it. I mean, this movie, I have to give it a score out of 10. If I were to give it a score out of 10, I said the first movie was probably like a 5 out of 10 because there was something there. Right? I felt like it was more developed than this movie, that it was targeted not just at kids, but more at adults as well. Whereas this movie, I think, is directed at 5-year-olds to 10-year-olds. And I think if we're saying that it's targeted at 5 to 10-year-olds, I think it's offensive to think that that's the level that 5 to 10-year-olds are at. And if it is what 5 to 10-year-olds are at, then I think there's a problem with this country, and I think we need to step up our education system, and we need to take iPads out of the classrooms. And Toy Story 5 should be banned, and there should be no more iPads. Like, the AI should destroy those things so that we have a chance as a society to survive. Because if this is the level of 5 to 10-year-olds, then I think we're cooked as a nation and cooked as a society. So if I gave the original Mario a 5, I'd probably give this movie like a 2 or a 3. Again, the animation was good. I liked the animation. It was fun to look at. There wasn't any like real choppy parts. It wasn't really bad in that sense. And I thought that some of the character plugs were fun. I wasn't expecting Fox to be in this movie. Captain Fox. I wasn't expecting the final fight to look like a Super Smash Bros. Like final fight. That aspect of it I liked. The action was fun. Star Fox in his ship, that was fun. But other than that, it was kind of dreadful, and I kind of wanted to leave the theater, and I kind of wanted to stop existing. But that's Super Mario Galaxy. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've actually gonna see it. And we'll see if this movie actually makes money, which I guarantee it will. But thanks, guys. Bye.